In this video, I extend a platform and build a water tower. Hello everyone, welcome back aboard the night train for another modelling video. With a flurry of reviews coming out on the channel, I thought it's about time to go back to the narrow gauge yard I'm working on to show off some of the progress that's made there. Today, we're going to be looking at the dual gauge platform that I've been extending and also a water tower kit that I've built from MS Models. With both of these and a lot of other things well underway in the yard, let's see how it's looking now. To extend my repurposed platform, I stuck some extended framing underneath the original to the new desired platform length, using some recycled pieces of wood and plastruct. Using the Wills wooden planking plastic sheets, I measured out the sizes of each piece of plastic one by one with the aid of digital calipers and a craft knife. With a piece decided, I scored along the plastic sheet between the embossed planking to cut away the piece I needed. I then cut off any flashing and excess to clean up the edges, as well as the small moulding tabs around the side of the sheet. Using a file, I smoothed down the edges. A quick check of the piece in place confirmed it was the right size. I repeated the process to produce different sized pieces of the platform. With everything cut to size, I glued them into place, starting with the internal piece and then the exterior edges of the platform. The platform tops were glued in position, checked and tweaked as required. To help seal everything together, I ran a thin squirt of plastic welding glue along the inside edges. With the main platform length completed, I needed to fit steps on the end. Turning to my scratch building supplies, I cut up an old coffee stirrer to produce some steps. After trimming off the ends, I measured out my cut marks. Some split apart, so I discarded these. With a dab of glue, I carefully stuck the pieces together in a staggered position, adjusting as required before the glue fully set. Once together, I checked the rough height to make sure I had the correct number of steps. With the main staircase dry, I then glued some offcuts of plastic will sheet to build out and around them, measuring and cutting all the way through. Some more of the stirrer was used to provide some internal support and structuring. With the platform built, I tested it in position to make sure there was adequate clearance on both loops of track for my widest rolling stock. With the platform held in position by weights, I then set about ballasting the sides of the rails that met the platform base. I dropped in tiny amounts of ballast with a teaspoon and spread this level with the already laid ballast using a brush. To dislodge any ballast stuck to the rails, I tapped the rail heads with the back of the spoon. After a quick spray with water and washing up liquid solution, I used a pipette to apply 50% diluted PVA to the ballast. With the platform removed from the layout while the ballast dried in place, I set about adding some more ramps between the higher and lower surfaces. I used offcuts of the wheel's plastic sheet again, as well as some plastic welding glue. The ramps were strategically placed over the sheet joins to improve rigidity. With everything dried, I set about repainting the extension to match the original platform. I applied a liquid wood weathering paint to darken the plastic and remove the glossy sheen. With the platform practically finished, I turned my attention to the Talaclin water tower kit, a 3D printed resin item from MS Models. My first job was to paint the tower in a slate grey undercoat. With my set of accessories chosen to depict the tower in preserved form, I glued the top onto the water tank, and the water handle atop that before checking the fit. For the wooden tank, I used a lighter wood weathering paint as an initial underlayer. I took the same approach for the water delivery trough as well. The piping for the back of the water tank was painted in a simple coat of Humbrol acrylic black. To add the impression of mortar between the slate on the main tower, I dry brushed and wiped away some layers of Humbrol acrylic light grey using a cloth. Meanwhile, I built up layers of the wood weathering paint on the tank and trough. Once this had dried, I applied a wet layer of black weathering over the tank and trough to simulate damp, well-used wood, wiping away as required to get my desired effect. With the weathering layers dried, it was time to glue all the components together. After gluing the trough in position, I glued the tank over the top, completing the bulk of the kit. And here is the final result. The platform fills the gap between the rails really well. I can park up a standard gauge train as long as I can feasibly run in 7 feet, and the narrow gauge side can take 2 short trains or 1 longer train. The water tower is perfectly set for the landscape slowly coming together around it, with the rockwork and engine shed area both subjects of my next video. So that's 2 really important structures down in the yard now, leaving just the engine shed, which is the biggest building of all. That and the area around it is going to be a focus of another upcoming video, as is the background scenery and rocks that you may have noticed as well. I'm going to be covering those in due course. If you're interested in seeing that and a couple of other modelling bits I've got going on, make sure that you subscribe to the channel, like the video, and possibly leave a comment if you've got any thoughts on what I've covered today. But if not, well, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in another video very soon. Take care.